Hello, and welcome to The Art of Lost and Found, a podcast that explores the creative relationship between our inner and outer worlds. It's a creative exploration through stories, insights, resources, and tools to help you intentionally design your life and work. I'm your host, Brooke Estin, also known as the Creative Amplifier. I'm part strategist, part designer, part coach, and part artist. And I'm dedicated to helping fellow creatives bridge the gaps between those big dreams and practical realities. Now let's get into it. Hello. On the show today, we are going to talk about the elephant in the room for so many compassionate, empathetic creatives. It's how to find a balance between generosity and profitability. If you're new here, welcome to the Art of Lost and Found. I'm your host, Brooke Estin. On the show, we dive into stories and strategies to help you uncover insights, resources, and tools to align with your most creative, purposeful, and abundant life and business. Today's episode is all about finding that delicate balance between generosity and profitability within your online business. As creatives, and especially as creative entrepreneurs, we often find ourselves torn between two important aspects of running our business: being generous with our time, energy, resources, and expertise, and ensuring that our business is profitable enough for it to be viable and sustainable. It's a fine line to walk, but it's critical for maintaining both our financial health and our sense of fulfillment in what we do. So let's start by exploring the concept of boundaries. What are they, and how do you work with them? Boundaries are the limits and rules that we set for ourselves within relationships. A person with healthy boundaries can say no to others when they want to, but they're also comfortable opening themselves up to intimacy, close relationships, and being incredibly generous. Yet boundaries are essential for maintaining a healthy balance between what you give and what you get. They help us define what we're willing to give and what we need to receive in return in order to feel good about that exchange. Without clear boundaries, we risk overextending ourselves and burning out financially and emotionally. In the grand universal scheme of things, I believe that there is balance, and we give and we get, and at the end of the day, there is an equilibrium in that process. But when it comes to business, it's a different story. It requires you to be incredibly intentional and proactive. So, how do we set boundaries in our business? First, it begins with understanding the value of our time, our energy, and our expertise. It's understanding the value of our own self-worth. As creatives, we often undervalue our skills and expertise, and this leads us to give away too much for too little in return. When this happens over and over again, it can lead to resentment and contempt, and honestly, it can poison the relationship that you have to your work, and that is a sacred relationship that needs to be honored. By recognizing our true value, we can confidently set boundaries that honor both our generosity and our need for financial stability. Okay, quick story time. I have a client who offers deep healing medicine to the world through yoga, breath work, and a number of other practices. She's Indigenous, and it is incredibly important to her that her work remains accessible for lower income people who don't have access to this type of super important essential work. It's part of what gives her meaning and helps her honor the deep spiritual work she does with her clients. It's super important to her that her work is accessible. But she also understands the need to place a high value on her work and to be able to step into the fullness of her financial potential. It's important from a spiritual, ancestral place, but also from a tangible, practical place. If she has more resources, she can invest more in her work and grow it to reach even more people. So, what do boundaries look like in this situation? What do they feel like? So, she experimented with a pay what you can model, but it really didn't work out so well. She started noticing trends in the way people would lean, and it just didn't feel aligned for her. So, on one of her recent brand therapy calls, for those of you who don't know, I offer 90-minute one-to-one calls where we deep dive into strategy, design, mindset, really all the things that need to be in alignment in order for business to flow. So, this client brought this issue to our most recent brand therapy call. And we created clear boundaries that support her in being able to charge what her services are worth, so multiple hundreds per session, while also opening up an application for people who want to work with her but who aren't able to reach that price point. She now is going to have a rolling application where she can make a decision on a case by case basis. This allows her the freedom and flexibility to work with anyone while also honoring her business in a way that is financially viable and scalable. She's very seasonal. She's intuitive. She's in touch with her body, the elements, the cosmos, all of the things that are seen and unseen. And for her, she needs to be able to flow in a way that gives her the flexibility that she craves, but also has the scaffolding and the support network, the structure that she needs to be able to do it in a way that is scalable. We explored offering free or super low financial barrier to entry offers that could focus specifically on this group of people. I used the example of one of my mentors, Marie Forleo, who has a business model where 90+% of her content is free through her emails, her YouTube channel, and through social media. But instead of selling a ton of services to everyone, she pours everything into her signature offer, an online course called B School. I've taken it. It's phenomenal. Proud B School alumni over here. Marie Forleo has expanded her offer suite to include new programs as well, but the core idea is simple. Give away the information for free and then warm them up into your main signature offer. This is where you can pour everything in, but the price point is aligned with the value that you're offering. This process could definitely take time, and many people will never convert from free content. But the ones that do, if you price it accordingly, the ones that do, they end up covering the costs for everything and then some. This is evidenced by the fact that Marie Forleo is a multimillionaire. Setting boundaries is about being intentional with how we invest our time and energy. We're not winging it when we're setting boundaries. While it's important to be generous, we must also prioritize offers, projects, and collaborations that are aligned with our goals and values. By saying no to opportunities that don't serve us or don't feel in alignment, we free up space for those that do, ultimately leading to greater profitability and, equally as important, if not more so, a greater sense of fulfillment. Now, finally, let's cover a little bit about financial strategy. Building a profitable creative business requires more than just talent and passion. It requires sound financial planning and management. This means knowing your worth, knowing your market, your ideal audience, and where they're at, what they're able to pay, what their biggest problems are. You have to understand your market, pricing your products and services accordingly, and being mindful of your expenses and cash flow. Cash flow is so important, especially as you grow your business. Not long ago, while I was already making six figures in my business, I had a month where I had to move money from my personal savings account into my business account so I could pay my team members. Then a few weeks later, I had $20,000 in my business bank account again. Paying attention to your cash flow can be the difference between having a peaceful, abundant, aligned feeling in your life and having full-blown panic attacks. I really hope that you don't have to learn this the hard way. As you grow, as you bring in more people or tools to help you, your expenses are going to increase. So it's really essential to keep an eye on your cash flow to make sure that your business is actually viable. Most of us have learned this the hard way, especially during the pandemic, but it's absolutely essential to diversify your revenue streams to mitigate risk and to ensure long-term sustainability. Whether you're doing that through different service offerings, product sales, partnerships, or whatever, having multiple income streams can provide stability and flexibility in the ever-changing landscape of creative entrepreneurship. Also, as creatives, we tend to be curious and get bored easily. So we don't want to set ourselves up for only doing the same thing all the time just because, quote unquote, it's working. My suggestion would be to focus on one or two focus areas until they're solid. Then from there, you can diversify. Because I'm sure we all know this, but as creatives, if you try to do too much at once, you end up just overwhelming yourself. It feels chaotic to manage and you just don't make that much progress. So focus first, then diversify as you scale. So, how do we strike the balance between being generous and being profitable? For me, it all comes down to being intentional. By setting clear boundaries, valuing your worth, and implementing sound financial strategies, you can create a business that not only gives you financial success, but also helps you feel deeply fulfilled as you're making an impact in the world. Remember, profitability does not and should not come at the expense of generosity. In fact, when we're financially secure, we're better able to give back to our communities. We can support more causes that we believe in, and we can invest in the growth and evolution of our business. This balance is an ongoing journey. But with patience, persistence, and a whole lot of creativity, we can navigate it with grace and a sense of purpose. But remember, be kind and generous to yourself first. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope there were some gold nuggets for you that is going to support you as you move forward with aligning your ideal life with an abundant, viable, sustainable business. For more resources, head over to brookeestin.com or follow on social. I'm at Brooke Estin. See you in the next episode.